We're slowing down the hiring in jobs that are, quite frankly, soul crushing jobs. I mean, just think about like IT support, customer support. 80% of the customer inquiries and cases now are fully managed by agentic AI. And the same is true of go to market. Think about people that talk to customers. There's no prep work anymore. Their AI teammate is doing that for them at ServiceNow. The supporting cast of the soul crushing work is now being done by agents. They work hard 24/7. You don't have to pay them, and they don't eat any lunch, and they don't have any health care benefits. So they're very affordable.
Hey, so you're telling me they work 24/7. You don't have to pay them anything, and they don't have to eat or take breaks. Oh, this is amazing. These CEOs have to be so far out of touch with reality. When did a customer service job become a soul crushing job? Like, wouldn't you think that a soul crushing job would be wiping elderly people's asses? Like, why couldn't AI take that first? Do you ever wonder where this is all headed? It seems like every week we get a new tool to help automate our workflows, increase efficiency, and then eventually replace our employees. If you ask some, we're entering into the golden age of technology, and to others, well, this is the beginning of the end.
It's overwhelmingly the biggest threat to humanity.
Should we allow AI machines to flood the internet with propaganda and fake news?
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing, and we can make people's lives amazing. We can cure diseases, we can increase material wealth, we can help people be happier, more fulfilled, all of these sorts of things.
So it's been a while since Stargate was announced, and when it was, a lot of us thought we were gonna die. But it's chilled out. We've got to see how AI works, and a lot of us think it's a great tool. And it also comes with some funny videos.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person.
So while it's fun and very useful, a lot of us are questioning, is it worth it? The amount of money and resources required to continue the growth of AI and for it to really be a large language model, it's got to make you question, are we in the next economic bubble? It should be no surprise that the top companies pushing AI are Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, and Oracle. And even if they're not directly related or a AI first company, they're definitely investing a ton of money into it. And also, don't let me forget Palantir. And there are a lot more companies in the S&P finding a way to invest into AI. But the companies I did list have a combined market cap of $26 trillion, making up roughly 42% of the entire S&P 500. So first, let's look into the potential benefits of AI. All right, so this was an article published by the University of Cincinnati Online titled 9 Benefits of Artificial Intelligence in 2025. And they're thinking this will help with enhanced healthcare. It can be used for administrative tasks like test analysis and data entry, and also for cures and treatments for illnesses that have plagued mankind for many years. Boosted economic growth. They're thinking that the stats, everybody's a little confused here, and they're saying the stats tell a different story. So they're saying that one study found that AI could contribute a whopping 15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. This is partly thanks to the fact that AI, rather than replacing or removing jobs, is opening up countless new working opportunities in diverse fields, from finance to tech. It's also driving huge productivity growth for many organizations. Climate change. An AI system could, for example, play a role in developing and making the most of new green and renewable energy systems, or finding ways to minimize carbon emissions to improve decision-making processes for governments across the globe. Advanced transportation. Beyond self-driving cars, AI can be used in other fields of transportation like GPS systems to plot the perfect route, or traffic analysis to help urban planners ease congestion. This can all help to reduce fuel consumption and get people where they need to be more quickly and safely than ever before. Customer service excellence. AI technology can help businesses personalize and manage their customer interactions more effectively. This applies to fields like banking, retail, insurance, and beyond. AI is consistently helping brands deliver the most helpful and valuable customer experiences and scientific discovery. And I think that's probably a lot like the healthcare. AI represents a major upgrade to the fundamentals of research as we know it. It will make it much faster and easier to dig into data and make predictions. This could lead to the development of everything from cures or major diseases to game-changing new technologies for deeper insight. Financial services. In the field of fraud detection and prevention, AI has a part to play there too. It can help spot the common signs of fraud or detect fraudulent activities by monitoring accounts and transfers into deep detail, potentially saving institutions and individuals from financial ruin. Improved agriculture. AI programs can, for instance, help farmers make better decisions about how to make the most of their land and resources. They can provide weather forecast instructions on when to water crops, suggestions on which pesticides, if any, to utilize, and so on. AI tech can introduce new ways to combat cyber threats and counteract the likes of hacking attempts, ransomware, and viruses. AI programs and defenses can be set up across devices, servers, or entire networks to spot attacks in advance and take the necessary steps to mitigate their negative effects. And I forgot to say, but that's enhanced cybersecurity. I think really this is the main thing that prevents us from shutting AI down right now is cybersecurity. This is why our government is getting heavily invested in AI. And that's because we want to win the race. If China wins the AI race, they will have an advantage over us when it comes to hacking and information. And information between governments is huge. It is key. So I think really that's one reason we have all of the green light to build out these data centers. All right, so now that we've seen some of the potential benefits of AI, let's look into the cost. A recent study out of Cornell University found that the combined hardware and energy costs for training large AI models have been growing by about 2.5 times each year since 2016. If that continues, training the biggest models could cost more than $1 billion by 2027.
Mel, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle have just unveiled 5 more Stargate sites, stretching across Texas, New Mexico, Ohio, and then an undisclosed destination in the Midwest. We're also getting a revised spend here that brings the size of the initiative to nearly 7 gigawatts and more than $400 billion of investment over the next 3 years. Now, these blockbuster deals have already fueled massive stock gains, but one of Oracle's new CEOs told me that he is not worried about the market overheating.
We see a broad-based demand across a huge swath of the industry. So it's not just from any one individual place that we're seeing this demand coming from. And as this kind of continues through, I don't worry about a bubble because I see committed demand for it. And also, the other thing I would say is, Oracle's not just in the infrastructure business. We're also in the application business, so we're also consumers of this technology.
Yeah, we're always going to need our AI slop. That's for sure. They've got us hooked.
Now, those comments echo what I heard from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, who told me that this scale of construction...
Bro, it just looks so hot there. And this looks massive. I can't even... how much money are they putting into this? And it's probably created a lot of jobs.
...is the only way to keep up with AI's explosive growth.
And this is what it takes to deliver AI. AI, unlike previous technological revolutions or previous versions of the internet, there's so much infrastructure that's required. And this is a small sample of it.
Sam also telling me that OpenAI's trajectory so far only underscores the need for even more compute.
With what we see on the horizon for how much people are going to want to use this and what the quality of intelligence, the level of intelligence we can deliver with more compute, we're very confident at this point we're going to need much, much more compute to deliver on that.
And this comes just one day after the NVIDIA OpenAI $100 billion partnership announcement. And yes, NVIDIA and Oracle both closed lower. I'm looking at those stocks. They are both moving higher after hours. So really answering that question that, yes, this latest deal is looking like it is reigniting that AI trade as investors chase anything tied to OpenAI. Mel?
How are they going to power all this, Mac?
That's a great question. And how much energy are these data centers going to require?
Today, a hyperscale data center operated by a big tech company uses about as much electricity as 100,000 households. The largest data center currently under development will use 20 times that amount.
That's the question I've been asking today, and Sam Altman has long been an advocate of nuclear power. He helped a startup called Oklo go public through a SPAC. And so that is one option that they're turning toward. But Sam and Sarah Fry are both telling me that more than close to 800 partners across North America have approached them about potential facilities to host them. So here in Texas, we're talking about renewable energy, we're talking about grid power. That is not enough because, Mel, a key distinction here, that's 7 gigawatts we're talking about. That is additive to the NVIDIA announcement. So we're talking about 17 gigawatts in total. This is an unprecedented build out that is going to require the kind of power we haven't seen the likes of in a very long time in terms of U.S. infrastructure build.
Yeah, can you imagine how many nuclear plants they're probably going to need? I know they have a few in Texas already, but imagine putting a solar field out there as well. All the material costs and maybe wind. We haven't seen anything about wind in a long time, but the issue with electricity or renewables is that it's not instant. And a lot of the times you can have issues with the grid as well. So nuclear is only really going to be your only option, just because also with fossil fuels, if you're trying to move away from the climate impact that fossil fuels have, you're not going to want to be building out new facilities for combustible fuels, even though they're the most reliable that we have today. And with nuclear, there's also, it has its issues as well with waste, with maintenance, and, you know, historically there's been issues with meltdowns in the past. And although things have gotten better, it's very hard. I mean, all of this to me looks so unnecessary. All of it. Let me know what you think. All right, now that we've seen some of the costs and infrastructure, let's look at the impact that AI is having on the environment.
Using artificial intelligence can feel like magic. You type a prompt and your answer instantly, effortlessly appears. But the magic is an illusion. This one prompt uses roughly 10 times more energy than a standard search. Pull back the curtain and you discover vast warehouses of computers with a voracious appetite for energy, water, and raw minerals. New data centers are fueling a $1 trillion industrial revolution.
This is the biggest infrastructure project in history.
All of this, quite literally, scars the Earth. Right now, AI's environmental impacts are growing and the consequences are hitting home.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay.
Everything's gone.
Spruce Pine is like a secret. It's a small, sleepy town in North Carolina. Very few people realize how crucial it is in the AI supply chain. I came here last fall as part of my work to map the hidden costs of artificial intelligence. I've been studying the impacts of AI for over a decade. I didn't realize it, but I was about to see those costs up close and personal. But first, let me show you what I came to see.
Damn.
Below us is the world's main source of high-purity quartz.
Looks pretty out there, though.
As much as 90% of the world's supply of this crucial mineral comes from this 5-square-mile quarry.
Those bags, unprocessed, is worth $500,000.
Damn.
This is what it looks like before it's mined. This is pegmatite that I picked up in Spruce Pine. It was formed in a rare deposit about 300 million years ago. So what has this ancient rock got to do with AI? First, the quartz from these rocks is shipped east to China and Taiwan. The purity and heat resistance makes it essential in producing this, a semiconductor microchip. They perform the millions of calculations needed to run AI models. But to do this work, they demand vast amounts of power and water, demand that is expected to dramatically increase in the next decade.
Well, we needed a building. We looked for factories that had been abandoned, but
Take Elon Musk's company xAI, which boasts that it has built the world's largest AI supercomputer in South Memphis. Musk calls it Colossus. The local power grid couldn't support its energy demands, so the company set up dozens of methane gas generators, releasing nitrogen oxides and formaldehyde into the air. This historically black community was blindsided, and they're calling for fines and an investigation.
Everyday people don't get a deal, but Elon Musk does.
In Virginia, data centers already consume more than a quarter of the state's total electricity.
People's utility bills may double in the next 7 to 10 years just to power data centers. Pollution is rising and water supplies are being stretched thin.
Worldwide, data centers will soon be using.
Man. Imagine living in a town that Elon Musk comes in to build a big ass computer, and then your electricity bill goes up, your air becomes ass, and you're just breathing in toxic chemicals. But hey, it probably did supply them with some jobs. So yeah, it might be killing you, but you're earning money. That's not a bad thing. How necessary is it though to just build a big ass computer? Like, what's the point of that?
As much energy as Japan and are predicted to match India's energy usage by 2030. It's like adding a whole new industrial nation onto the grid. But instead of limiting the environmental impacts, this is happening.
Stargate, put that name down in your books. They're a new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States.
Just days after he pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement, President Trump announced plans to build sprawling AI data centers across the country.
The fact that we get to do this in the United States is I think, wonderful.
OpenAI's new data center, codenamed Project Ludicrous, is being built right now in Texas. It's larger than Central Park. There are plans to construct at least 20 of these across the country. Now generative AI will compete with you for power, water, and land. It's driving up electricity bills while releasing more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. All of this comes at a cost.
We're back with more breaking news on Hurricane Helene, now a very powerful Category 4 storm.
Days after I visited, Hurricane Helene slammed into Spruce Pine. The deadliest US hurricane since Katrina, it killed more than 200 people in the region.
Damn.
The plane that I'd flown in over the mines just a few days earlier, destroyed. The North Toe River.
All right, usually I'm a pretty big climate change denier in a sense. I mean, not really. I know climate change is happening, but at what rate are humans contributing to it? I need more evidence, and that's probably something I will look into. But whenever it directly hits a place that's been polluting the fuck out of the air, it's just a little too much of a coincidence for me to just overlook that, you know.
With sewage, oil, and mining runoff. People had lost everything. With all the focus on the rapid build-out of AI factories, what gets less attention are the real risks they pose to our environment. Of course, we can't pin one hurricane on climate change, but the science is clear. The warming planet will produce more dangerous storms, and in places that have never seen this level of severity, like Spruce Pine. This is the reality we face. Now, tech evangelists claim that AI will fix climate change in the future, but right now, AI is making the situation worse. None of this is inevitable. AI technologies could still benefit societies as a whole, or they could enrich a small cadre of interests. Washington has made its choice. It will be up to local communities to take up a grassroots fight to protect their land, air, and water. Because technological progress that isn't sustainable isn't really progress. It's borrowing against the future.
Look, I love money. I love capitalism and money to an extent, but a part of me is just, what do we need this? What's the point? I'm a fan of capitalism to an extent, but do we need all this? Building out giant data centers, destroying our ecosystems and our environment, running up our electricity bills, using our fresh water for a fucking computer. Let me know what you think. All right, now that we've seen some of the environmental impacts of AI, let's look into how it's going to affect the job market. The World Economic Forum's 2025 Future of Jobs report found that as many as 41% of employers were planning on downsizing their workforce due to AI. That number is even higher in the United States, where 48% of respondents said that they were planning on adopting the strategy.
The amount of change we're going to see over the next 5 years, 10 years, will dwarf everything that's happened over the last 30. We went from automating pen and paper, right, with spreadsheets, to connecting PCs into local area networks to, connecting people
to each
locally,
other.
locally, right, to connecting networks to get the internet, to getting the network effect of communicating people globally. But now we're introducing artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, et cetera. So, and what that enables is the automation of automation, right? And so the people who were writing software, particularly at the lower end, unless you're doing these advanced things, they're gone, right? The people that
because the software's writing itself, it's
doing itself, right? It's just math. Programmer back in the day, so when I was writing code, it was the algorithms were if this then that,
right?
XOR, whatever it may be, right? But you had to guess, right? You had to use your best instance, and then it got smarter and smarter and smarter, and libraries to do bigger and better things. All that is being automated. And so now you have to know how to use that stuff. So either software works for you or you work for software, and once the software takes over, you're gone, right? So unless you understand that, you don't understand that the nature of work is changing, the nature of employment is going to change, and from a business, from a stock perspective. If you're in the Fortune 500, if you're an S&P 500 company, if you're in the Dow 30, right? If you're one of the bigger companies, you already know this. And in talking to a lot of these big companies, they know their workforces, and given the supply and demand of stocks, the supply is shrinking and the demand is going up just as the economy grows. That's probably good news for stocks over the long term, but it's bad news for employment, and it's bad news for people who are disrupted. So what took 20 years before and then became 10 could be 5 or 3. And so when you start getting that massive amount of disruption in employment, what do? The whole nature of employment is going to change. There aren't manufacturing jobs coming back. There aren't more coal mining jobs coming back. No matter what you do to the EPA, a lot of these jobs are going to be gone. Now, there's still physical things. If you do infrastructure, you can kind of, buy some time, right? Spend more, get temporary jobs to build roads, build bridges, which is all fine and good, right? I think you can get a return on much of those things. But you're going to have to recognize that there are going to be more people out of work. So,
through this innovation.
Yeah.
So essentially what you make the case for is education and job training for grown-ups.
No.
No?
No, I think that won't matter, right? What are you going to go back and learn to do?
What it takes, right? I mean, whether it's finance, whether it's software programming.
Finance, that's the easiest thing. You just take the data and have it spit out whatever you need. Right? I personally think there's going to be a greater demand in 10 years for liberal arts majors than there were for programming majors, and maybe even engineering, because when the data is all being spit out for you, options are being spit out for you, you need a different perspective in order to have a different view of the data.
Yeah, so I've been saying this for a while. I think creatives are going to actually be in high demand in the future, because everything is going to get automated, and we're going to be in need of that humanity, that quality touch. So craftsmen, artists, if you go look in Europe at the beautiful paintings and the churches and the statues, that took a very long time. That was people's full careers, and they shadowed and they learned the trade, and then eventually they were able to do it on their own. And back then it was in high demand. And if these AI tech billionaires follow through, and let's say I'm pro AI and it works out, everything gets better, right? We're going to open up jobs to service AI, like infrastructure needs, energy needs, the solar farms, if that's doable, and the nuclear power plants. We're going to be doing that. And maybe it opens up time for us where we can spend it with our family, go travel and enjoy the human experience, get closer to your God, whatever it may be. AI could allow us to do that. All right, now that we've seen some of the potential benefits and negatives of AI, what do you think about the whole thing? Do you think this is going to be a good long-term strategy for humanity, or do you think it's going to cause it all to collapse? Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. If you liked it, could you give me a like, subscribe? It'd mean a lot. I'm going to continue to be pushing out these videos. I'm having a great time doing it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.